This is a journey into sound. This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new value. So when ready, I throw this switch. Pump up the volume, pump up the volume. Pump up, pump up, pump up. Don't let me. Beginning of this broadcast, special news bulletin from our alma mater board. Oh my God! The news just changed. Good evening, America. This is your president. Please listen carefully to the announcement I'm about to make. After careful consideration and research, Vice President Duke, Congress, and myself have concluded that black people have not advanced technologically. Their educational testing scores are on a rapid decline. The vast majority of them are on welfare and producing babies at a faster rate than they can support them, and we will not carry them anymore. We are left with no other choice but to put slavery back into effect. All blacks will report to the designated camps in their area to receive further orders. The only blacks excused will be those serving in the United States military and the police. Any blacks who do not cooperate will be terminated immediately. I repeat, slavery.
For the prestige, not for me. But just with my little brothers who are sleeping in concrete floors dead. Black people who live on welfare. Black people who can't eat. Black people who don't know no knowledge of themselves. Black people who don't have no future.
I seen the devil fall with the law. Mathematics was the key to set my whole race free. You might debate weak, refugee, no harm hurt me. Dying thirsty from the struggle to my own hustle bubble on the low. What was me to show the free bar right? The right to say she had to take a while, she's on raw bang. The last, like the Molly Burgundy, Wally I can see the fifth when Ali Cocky John for tape, so what I did.
Okay, you got to recognize the way the cute is enough to knock you out with Mike Fitness. So from hold the mic, so say it's white night, but those are all after the essence. I'm take away your rest, the glory. And now we see the daily operation, you're something lubrication. Give me this occupation, a winner. And you know we have two barrel elbows, you got to change my love. Yo, it's like elbow, in cases. Now we perfect slang like the gang of three cases. Robbie X makes the X pyramid on the check. Replace the name with the X. The man's got a God complex. Take the same thing, watch you hum and let it happen to like holy Muslims. Before the Somali guy, only for when it's hard. See how we appear to die here. We connect 400 years. So we the people walk with equal. Get love and such things. The man who made the band, remember when we were changed. Family, welcome to the Rundown with Renee. I'm your hostess, Renee. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what? I could have sworn it was like
2 songs on the intro, but I guess it wasn't. So, oh well, it is what it is. But we in here tonight. Let me say peace, of course, to my brother Psycho that's on the line. Peace, Psycho.
Peace, peace. What's going on, Renee? What's going on, family?
Yeah. So we got a topic. Do you want to tell them where they can tune in?
Oh yeah, definitely. For those who don't know, we streaming on YouTube. On my channel, SYKOPATHeist. That's SYKOPATHEIST. SYKOPATHeist. What's good?
All right. That's it. Yeah, today, so I'm a little scrambling a little bit, but I definitely want to come in here and go in on this topic tonight because there's been so many things on my mind as per usual. But you know, I think this kind of sums it all up. You know, integration. You know, in terms of the effect that it's really had on our people, and I guess you could say, well, some people say that it's like a gift and a curse. I fail to see this in integration. I'm sure there's some people out there who feel like, you know, it's all a gift. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you just look at the condition of our people, and I don't mean anomalies, I don't mean this individual here or there, collectively, when you look at the condition of our community, I think that says a whole lot. So, you know, that's kind of the perspective that I'm coming from tonight. As per usual, you know, call up, give your input if you feel like integration has been successful. You know, if you feel it's been detrimental. You know, I would love to know what the family is really thinking about this because it's something that affects all of us. I do have a clip I'm going to play. It's not very long, and this is Dr. Amos Wilson. Y'all know who I love, and who I would really like to do, like teach a class on something using this man's brilliance. I mean, he's beyond. But in this clip, he's talking about this. He's talking about like kind of the inferiority complex blacks may have, or where that comes from, and how integration plays in that. So, family, please check out this clip and listen to his brilliant, brilliant words. We're going to play the clip, then we're going to come back and get into the show tonight. We're going to be dealing with everything from how integration has affected everything, our music, the economics, education, everything involved. We're going to go in for sure on education. Also, I want to bring forth some points about that I think a lot of people don't know about what happened to black children, what happened to black schools, what happened to black teachers because of integration. But we also are going to get into MLK. And, you know, some people may feel away or what have you tonight. I don't know. But I put on the flyer, we're going to take a look back at him. And I needed to put on there an honest look back, and not trying to paint him to be, you know, holier than thou type of person, but also not trying to be disrespectful to all of the work that he did. So just kind of playing it down the middle and just calling out actual real things that happened and really examining it. So if you have an opinion on Martin Luther King Jr., and we know that's one of the people that they hold up to us the most, you know, who's supposed to signify what they want us to do, which is nonviolence and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into that too. And we're going to definitely get into how swirling impacted the whole civil rights movement. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that and the role that it plays. So anyway, I'm going to get into this clip with Dr. Amos Wilson. Then after the clip, we'll come back. We'll get it in. Family, you can, like Psycho said, you can tune in on YouTube. You can call in on the phone lines. If you would like to contribute, you do have to call in. The call-in number is 319-527-6058.
319-527-6058 and press 1. Alright, here's the clip and we'll be back.
I think it makes us question whether segregation itself was really the cause of the feeling of inferiority in black children and in black people, as we thought. It will make us question also what I think was a naive belief, that if we integrated with the whites, somehow they would stop seeing us as people of color or as black people. If we integrated with the whites, somehow the world would stop dividing itself up in terms of race. That somehow the world's division of itself in terms of African people and European people, black people and white people and so forth would somehow end. I think this study clearly implies then that this is not the case. I think it implies on a deeper level that inferiority in black people is a political and social necessity. I often, in speaking to my colleagues and others who are interested in psychology, and of course in the current book that I'm trying to develop now, get across the idea of how black psychology differs, particularly black psychology at this time, differs from Eurocentric psychology. And I think one of the major ways that it differs from Eurocentric psychology is that when we talk about abnormality in the black personality, when we talk about feelings of inferiority in black people, feelings of self-hatred and self-alienation, feelings of incompetence, feelings of powerlessness and so forth that we hear a lot about, we must recognize that these feelings are a political and economic necessity. And we should start from that premise if we are to understand the psychology of black people. I often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we are in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the 90%, it must keep that 90% out. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep that 90% filled with a feeling of powerlessness and incompetence. If this 10% is to continue to consume more than 60% of the world's resources, if this 10% is to continue to rob African, Asian, and other nations of their material wealth, then it keeps those people in a state of maladjustment. And this implies then that no matter how much integration you may bring about, the feeling of inferiority must be a constant in the black personality. No matter how many people you run for president, no matter how many mayors you get elected, no matter how many people you get on the board of IBM and the others, the basic sense of inferiority, the basic sense of dependency must remain a constant in the black mind. And I will indicate this, and I think this study, which occurred now some 40 years later, shows this to be the case. Dr. Clark shows surprise that after all of this time, this feeling is still there. I would not, and I don't think any student who's basically looked at the necessity of black people being out of their minds as being the foundation of European dominance would not be surprised. I think it was quite predictable. Remember, these society as early as 3.5 years old. So it starts very early. And I'm still working through my mind the implications of that finding. We are talking about preschool children, not only children that are in school, but children who are having this feeling prior to school. This will, of course, indicate that to a degree that our environment is saturated with racism through TV, through the various media, through the pictures I've through the unconscious and consciously. And it's the child's behavior and attitude starting in the womb itself. And I often start my developmental classes not with the prenatal period and how egg meets sperm, but with why do you have children in the first place? Because the reasons you have children will influence their development. You will influence them from the time they're in your womb until, of course, the day they die on this earth. It would indicate then that to a degree and in some way the Black community itself has been induced in helping to bring about a feeling of inferiority in its children. To a good extent, it is not so much the actions of racism that destroy us. The discrimination by white folk and Europeans, the kind of hatred that they express toward us as people that destroys us and gives us an inferiority complex. It is to a good degree how we as people react to these actions. Whether we believe the propaganda or not, whether we believe what the European actually has said. We cannot often control the behavior of other people, but we do have a greater control over how we react to that behavior. And to a good extent, the challenge of an Afrocentric education is to educate us in our tendencies to react. To a good extent, it would mean that the actions of racism apparently have induced some of us to accept racist propaganda and to really believe it, to internalize it. Once we internalize the propaganda, then we become social agents for the racists themselves. And to a good extent, then, the Black family, once it internalizes the propaganda of Eurocentric racists, becomes a social agent for the racists and begins to produce the kinds of children that the racists want from the time of conception onward. It becomes instructive, you see, to look at a family not as something that just raises children, but a family to a good extent is the social agent of the society. It produces the kinds of children that the society says it needs and wants. The family looks out at the opportunity structure, at its own social position. It looks out at what it views as the future for its children, for its group, for its nation, and it inculcates those views into its children and rears its children in terms of those views, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously. And in that way, it begins to create the children for the society. In a heavily segregated society, for instance, if your Black boy or girl would have said some years ago that they wanted to be president of the United States or that they were going to be president of the United States, how many of us, by being realistic, would have discouraged that view? No, ain't no Black man going to be this, or no Black woman going to be that. Be real. And in the service of being real, I say, well, I don't want him to be disappointed. I want to save him from racism and save him from the recognition one day that there are limitations to his aspirations. We quietly steer them toward a trade or a skill. Get this and get a job. So what's happening there? While it may have a realistic basis in a certain sort of way, you are also at the same time, though, creating the in line with the way the society is structured. A true Afrocentric family not only relates to his children in terms of reality, but it relates to his children in terms of idealism. It relates in the sense that if there is a world that it is an African family and we as an African people want to bring about. While the black man may not be president of the United States, it does not mean that he cannot rule the world. The true Afrocentric family then not only raises its children in terms of the so-called social realities, because it recognizes that social realities are things that men create themselves. And therefore it raises children to create a reality suitable to the advancement and development of black people. But an unconscious black family, an unconscious people, a people who've fallen victim to racism, a people who've fallen victim to a sense of inferiority, then will produce the kind of inferior children that the white society needs to continue its dominance in the world. And in this way, then, the black family and the black community and black leadership becomes allied with the dominant group and with the Eurocentric group. It is this kind of thing that we must come to become conscious of and to defeat consciousness.
All right, peace family. For those just tuning in, welcome to the Rundown with Renee. I'm your hostess, Renee, and I have my brother Psycho with me. We just got done listening to, or I just got done playing a little clip of a speech by Dr. Amos Wilson. If you don't know who he is, please get familiar. But he was basically talking about the mind, that integration, kind of produces among black people. And he has a part in there, and he expounds, on this outside of this particular speech, but where he talks about we have to be literally out of our minds. We have to be completely backwards to exist in this particular reality that we're in. And I just love that because that's just so spot on. And he is so spot on. I mean, I know a lot of times in this whole, Black Power movement or however people want to phrase it, people are, talking about we have to get out of an old state of mind and things of that nature. And I feel that. But at the same time, with some of the things we do, we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
We did have a lot of great elders who brought forth a lot of great, powerful information that really hasn't changed. And even though within that speech, of course, he passed away, far before Obama. And really, we still have not had a black president. Let's be clear. But even if you want to say he was one, okay, for the sake of this conversation, okay, fine. But even with what he said in terms of that, he is still 100% spot on. And so he just broke it down so beautifully. So we're going to get into this tonight. Again, family, if you want to participate or contribute to the conversation, tonight we are talking about how integration destroys black liberation. Make sure that you call in. The calling number is 319-527-6058, 319-527-6058, and press 1 if you want to speak. Or you can check it out via the Blog Talk site. That link is in the description and everything on Facebook. Or you can tune in. I'll let Psycho. And Psycho also, if you tell him that, go ahead and give us your, intro or your breakdown on this topic tonight. I think that's going to be really good. Go right ahead.
Yeah, once again, we live streaming on my channel, SYKOPATHeist. That's SYKOPATHEIST, SYKOPATHeist. Yes, this whole integration topic is a hot one, because a lot of things that we go through today you know, dates back to when we actually signed the civil rights bill and everything, back in, I believe it was 68. And yeah, people was real excited at the time, because we got to understand the atmosphere. You know, because it's a bad misconception, this whole integrationist thing and everything else. A lot of people, you know, are going off narratives that they read from European school books, and listening to people that really try to romanticize what that the whole nonviolent movement was, as far as like the people that wanted to integrate and was marching for white acceptance, because that's exactly what they was marching for. They was marching for white acceptance, while you had people like Malcolm X and Stokely Carmichael and H. Rap Brown and people of that nature that was actually fighting for black power. They could care less about white acceptance. They wanted black power. And that's what we should have been riding for. We should have been standing behind. We should have been supporting those brothers and their mentality. Because as you can see, marching non-violently for white acceptance has gotten us nowhere. The civil rights bill got signed, and that gave them free and a lot of these integrationists, all they cared about was being able, like the middle class black people, they wanted to be able to move into white neighborhoods. They was marching so they can get out of the hood and move into white neighborhoods. That's what they wanted. And then you also had these same group of individuals that was marching so they can have interracial marriages be legal, because they wanted to date white people, you know, the males and the females. I'm not going to put this all off on the males. There's females that wanted some white people too. Also, like this was like, you know, a status symbol almost. Like you know, they got tired of wanting to sneak around. They got tired of going in certain areas where this wasn't accepted, because we was living in a segregated country and it was against the law a lot of places. So now it's no longer against the law, and they can do all the interracial dating they want to do to their heart's content, and nobody can stop them, at least legally. You understand? So this is what they was marching for. This is because ultimately they wasn't marching for black power because they cared about the situation in the communities and the poor black people who give a damn about messing around with some white people who can care less about moving out the neighborhoods and moving up. They didn't even have enough money to move out the neighborhoods to go live with those white people. So poor black people got nothing. They actually got worse, because again, it sucked all the money out of our communities, because all the big corporations now, instead of being on the outside of our communities dealing with only white people, now they was able to put their businesses smack in the middle of our communities and suck all the money out of it. And ultimately, this is what they wanted. It was like it was a mind fuck. They tricked us into believing that this is the best thing for us, getting white acceptance. In the back of their minds, all they was thinking about was how can they make money off of this, and how can they maneuver this to where they can have us voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Isn't that what Lyndon B. Johnson said? He said, we play our cards right, we'll have these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years. He was quoted as saying this. The same person that helped put this bill together. But everybody want to act like integration was this great thing. You know, Renee, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic real quick. I'll touch on a little bit more in a second.
Okay. All right. I got Sister Nikki on the line. Peace, sis. How you doing? Peace. Yes. Everything is everything,
Black
Sister
power,
Renee, and I'm so thankful to be here tonight. Yes, Black power all day, all night. Okay. Nothing else. There's nothing else. Did I say there is nothing else? Black man, black woman equals a black child. That's right. Equals a world without end. All right. Everlasting life right there. And
you know, integration is a very important subject right now, because there is nothing that we can look at. Once again, these interracial dating and things of this nature is per death. Okay, there's a death culture. You are integrating sickness. You are integrating bad vibes, darkness. You are integrating degradation, certain type of negative complexes into your life when you touch these people and have that energy inside of your body, okay? And you're actually walking around and you're touching others. So people don't believe sometimes in energy. Energy is very real. And I don't know why they don't believe it, because when you walk across your carpet, you know what I'm saying, you can like shock people and things of this nature. So, you know, a carpet isn't alive. You see what I'm saying? So what is causing that electric spark to come all the way up from your feet, all the way to your hands, to the top of your head? So you are powerful. You are energy. You are giving your power away when you touch something that is actually a hybrid, recessive, disease-ridden. They don't have hair, they have fur. They don't have skin, okay? I don't know what that stuff is that they have, all right? Because anytime the sun touches it, what happens? All types of cancers. They're 30 years old looking like they're 60. I mean, you see their parents. Their parents might be 50, 60 years old. They looking like they should be in a coffin somewhere. You know, all of this plastic, like the negativity that is within them, like it's naturally for them to be negative because they are not accepted by the earth. The earth doesn't accept them. The earth rejects them, and they know it. So they on pretty much a survival mode, but they know that they're going to lose. So they're trying to put it within us and put that culture within us and put that on our DNA and try to change our DNA in so many different ways. And especially the main way is to touch them and agree with them and to do certain things with them, such as sexual activities, procreating with them. Just because you can have a child with them does not mean that that's what's supposed to happen. It's not. It's not. How are you supposed to have a relationship, okay, with something that is on the way off the face of the earth? That doesn't even make any sense at all. They do everything in their power to murder us. Now, what's going on with MLK? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm confused about the MLK theories and things of this nature. Because I do know, I don't know, and I really can't, I can say that I don't believe that his goal was ever to marry these people. I don't ever hear him saying that. I don't get that from his messages. From his messages, what I'm hearing is that y'all need to just leave us alone. That's what I'm seeing. We're not fighting you back, just leave us alone. I never got the mess. I do when he say black children and white children. I don't think he meant for them to marry each other. I really don't. And then at the end, he was throwing in things where he wanted to go to Washington D.C. to get his check. He wanted to get his check, and not only that. So that's like my favorite speech of his. And he'd be like, not only that, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, with Martin Luther King, he was very young. He was 25 years old when he started. Mm-hmm. So let's just, you know what I'm saying? Let's leave that right there. I don't think we can blame that whole thing on him. That's not fair for one person to take the blame for everybody going in their own direction and having, you know, particular motives. Did he know what was going on at the beginning? I'm not sure. I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think that he thought he was rising in the ranks really fast, and he really didn't know what was going on because it was kind of like they were spinning him really fast. Because if you know about his life, he supposedly got his PhD at a very early age, like before he turned 20. Or, you know, and so he had been through college and master's, bachelor's, and all of that before a certain age. So I thought that was odd, but that's what happened. And he was in the secret society. He was in the secret society and things of this nature. But even within the secret society, it's secret. So they're not going to tell you everything. And then once again, he was very young. So, and he was murdered at the age of 38 years old. So, within that time, like, they took his whole entire life and just pretty much used and abused him. But once he started waking up and seeing everything that was going on, I think he wanted to change it because he said, after I've integrated us into a burning building. And to me, integration does not mean marry these people. Once again, okay, you're free to go wherever you want to go. Just don't, you know what I'm saying? We need boundaries, period. Period. When you meet people, certain things have to happen. But I really don't want to blame MLK for everything. I do know that there were a lot of things that was pushed on him, like the homosexual and the Jews, and everybody kind of that was going to rise up, including Jesse Jackson, rose up, and he was the sacrificial lamb. And I think that's just how it went. I don't think that he would get up there and try to sacrifice his own life so Jesse Jackson can bring about homosexuality into our communities. I just don't. And I don't think that integration meant for MLK. I don't think it meant homosexuality either. So I just didn't hear any of that in his messages. I don't think that's where he was going with that. I just don't. I just think that he was saying that maybe we can live on the same world and we don't have to be harassed, hosed down. The dogs don't have to be sticked on us at all times. But like I said, I'm a little bit confused about that whole MLK thing.
I definitely don't think MLK was pushing a gay message. I will never say that. I definitely don't think he was pushing a gay message. I also don't think. I guess I should be more. I don't think his primary goal was to push interracial relationships or anything. But I don't think he was naive to the fact that his message was going to lead to more interracial relationships. Because we do have stuff like he do remember this wasn't long after Emmett Till and stuff like that and everything, like where black men was getting killed just for looking at a white woman. So we got like, again, I think he was conscious to knowing that if this integration bill passes, things like that won't happen. Black people will be more free to talk to white people, possibly have relationships, whatever the case may be. Like, again, I don't think this was his primary goal, but I do think he was conscious to what this was going to lead to.
Right. I agree with that. Right. Everything has certain different sides to it as well, and there are going to be side effects to anything. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just going to stick with mine and say I really don't think that marrying white people was his agenda, because no, he couldn't, because all of that, like you said, all of that stuff he's seen, and he was around when that stuff happened with Emmett Till. He might have even been the same age. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I just don't want to blame him for everything, because within any movement, there are several different things behind the scene that you just don't see. Right. And I experienced it personally. Like, you never know what's on somebody else's mind. Somebody is always plotting. So, yes, he was very intelligent. He was the face of it, but I just don't think he was the... And remember, he didn't want anything to do with it. He said no at first. So,
but let's first pause on MLK for a moment. Yeah, let's first pause on MLK for a moment, because I got a couple of things I want to hit, and then we can go deeper into that, because that's a real whole show by itself. Because initially that's what I was going to do. So, because we can get into MLK, and we're going to get there. I just want to hit these points pretty quickly to broaden the
the conversation. And goodness, let me see here. I want to make sure I'm keeping track too of my board at the same time. But I'm going to basically give a few points on, you know, ways that integration has hurt Black people, just, you know, overall in general. And these are the type of things, of course, that relate to us every day. Let me bring in this call, and then I'm going to hit those points. All right, 323. Keith, what's your name? Where you coming from? Y'all there?
I'm here.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I'm sorry.
Okay. My name is Jericho. I'm from Los Angeles. Yeah, my name is Jericho. I'm from Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Peace. I think you called in before. I'm sorry, y'all, if I was a little distracted. If I get distracted here or there. We had like a power surge a few minutes ago when Nikki, you were talking. So my internet and everything came back up. So yeah. So I don't know what's going on. It's just too hot or whatever. But we good for right now. But if y'all hear me get quiet, Psycho or Nikki, I might need to, you know,
Okay.
fill in for me. So, but right now we good. But peace, brother. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to just comment on the title of your subject. I agree. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the last trick would be the white woman, and the integration was a trick in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s. And I think he's right in the sense that, you know, it's teaching us that, we're going to mix in, and that's going to make things better. If somebody doesn't like you and you don't, and don't want you around, and when you force yourself into their circle or into their face, you're only making the problem go underground and then it resurface later on. You're not really dealing with it. And what that did is it pretty much killed our whole unity, our whole independence, because now we're dependent on their systems and become consumers in their systems and in their society, and make us more of a slave or more of a dependent. It's like kind of going back to slavery. When we were segregated, we were forced to do for ourselves and produce for our own selves as far as our community, our education. But instead of looking to improve our situation, we started looking at theirs as the grass is greener on the other side type mentality. Like, the white man's water is colder type of thinking, instead of making our stuff better. And so, therefore, we lose our unity. And it was just to undermine our unity because, we didn't have these problems then. So I just want to speak on that.
Thank you. And you are 100% correct. Your line is open, so you can chime in. I'm going to get these points really quick. But no, you're 100% correct. I agree with you wholeheartedly in all that you said. All right, family. So let me give y'all a few of these points here. All right. Number one, black wealth stagnated or declined after integration. During segregation, blacks were forced to start and support the businesses in their own communities. Many of these businesses flourished and even helped make some black communities, such as the Greenwood community in Tulsa, often called Black Wall Street, wealthier than their white neighbors. After segregation ended, African Americans flocked to support businesses owned by whites and other groups, causing black restaurants, theaters, insurance companies, banks, etc. to almost disappear. Today, black people spend 95% of their income at white-owned businesses. Let me repeat that one more time. Today, black people spend 95% of their income at white-owned businesses. Even though the number of black firms has grown 60.5% between 2000 and 2007, they only make up 7% of all U.S. firms and less than whatever. I'll go back to what I was saying. But yeah, so 95% of our income is spent with white people own. Let's see, in 1865, after emancipation,
176,743 blacks, 1.5% of the U.S. population, owned 0.005% of the total wealth in the United States. Today, for 135 years after the abolition of slavery, 44.5 million Black Americans, 14.2% of the population, possess a meager 1% of the national wealth. So it hasn't really grown. I say that often on here. There's just a reality. People can try to see now. My internet's trying to really act crazy. So let me see here. It does something where it wants to take a long time to try to register the I don't know what's going on with my internet. I keep getting this error message, so I have to get back to, let's see, maybe hopefully I can pull it back up. Sometimes it does that and it takes a while, so. All right, well, I guess I have to put that on pause, what I was reading, but it basically goes on to kind of talk about unemployment, how unemployment of Black people increased tremendously. Of course, we can talk about the schools, and I really want to talk about that real quick while I'm trying to get that to come back up. And what a lot of people don't know about what integration did to Black schools, I mean, it's really sad. But so a lot of people are familiar with the Brown versus Board of Education. That was in 1954. They decided, it was approved that, basically schools were going to be unsegregated or desegregated. And, so thus you have the beginnings of, the integration of the public school system. Before there were basically Black schools and white schools. And one of the things that really hurt, now mind you, from the information that I know about the Brown family, there were several families who were part of this particular case. The Browns, I believe, were the most notable, or what have you, or well off, I guess if you want to say, family, and so they were kind of used, their name and all of that. Their issue was, I believe it was a distance type of issue as far as their daughter going to school. However, this turned into a whole desegregation case, et cetera, et cetera. Their goal was not to destroy the Black school. Their goal was just about, hey, well, if this school is closer, why does my child need to, go however far over here? So it had more to do with that than wanting to be up under white people necessarily. Okay, so anyway, the result of that was that you had 50,000 Black teachers who lost their jobs. 50,000. When you go back and you do the research, you had many of those, because it was mainly Black women, you had many of those Black women who had to go and become maids and take up other kind of like service jobs, even though these women were educated women who went to school, of course, to become teachers. Within that, you have the counselors at school, the principals, other people in administrative positions who were Black, who also all lost their jobs. Thus, when you had Black teachers, if they were able to get a job, first and foremost, they had to contact the white parents and find out if it was okay with them if their child had a Black teacher, okay? And you had many instances, of course, where parents said absolutely not. There's one story even of a little white girl who her parents said, her mother said no, because the girl had just started her
cycle. She just got her first cycle. And she said she didn't think that her daughter would be comfortable in going through that with a black teacher in the classroom. So you had these types of things that went on. So to this day, we still have not caught up to that. Actually, I believe as of right now, or I think this is actually from 2012. We're currently in the, let me give you this number real quick. Currently in the public school districts in general. I just had it. Okay. Let me go here. The decimation of black educators has had a long-lasting impact. The study by the National Center for Education Statistics found that among 3.3 million teachers in American public elementary and secondary school in 2012, where minority students are quickly becoming the majority. There were 82% white, 8% Hispanic, 7% black, and about 2% Asian. The loss of black teachers means that many students have lost contact with their most impactful role models. As black educator Kevin Gilbert told the Associated Press, nothing can help motivate our students more than to see success standing right in front of them. Okay, so you have these public school districts that are predominantly black, and as it says here, 82% of the teachers are going to be white. Okay, there's also a study, and I don't have my notes. I'm trying to see if I can get it pulled up, but it basically breaks down that if a black child has at least one black teacher, is it in I believe it's in high school. If a black child has at least one black teacher in high school, their rate of graduating, the rate of getting a diploma, it increases like, I want to say 40-something plus percent. Okay? Now, this is something that they have found. So understand, when you don't see a lot of black teachers in these schools, it's by design. They understand the fact that there will always be a level of disconnect when you have other races of people being in a position to teach black children, because they are unable to identify with those teachers. You often have people coming in who come from communities that are absolutely nothing like what they're teaching in. But teachers also don't understand that the average black child in the school or in the class, they're dealing with things that other races of children are not dealing with in the same manner. So anytime when you have black babies, kindergartners, first, second, third grade, who are able to do a doll test and to tell you that the ugly, mean, and bad doll is the darkest doll, what do you think, what impact do you think that has on those children? So you're already having children coming from communities that damn near war-torn, okay? They hear ambulances all day, every day. They hear, gunshots. They know, I'm sure, probably people in the community who have gone to jail, been taken to jail, or in and out, perhaps their parents even. You have some children who are living with grandparents or aunts or uncles or other family members. You have children who are dealing with a lot of other different circumstances as well as economic situations. So their parents may not be able to provide certain things for them. And they want to, fit in. They want to have the newest and latest whatever. So you have these white teachers oftentimes are sent there, either they send the bad teachers or they send the really, really green teachers who really are just, getting their feet wet. They don't really know a whole lot, and they'll get more money off of their student loans and all that if they come teach at these inner city schools for like a couple of years or something like that. So these are children, or these are teachers not invested. They're not looking to be there for the long haul. It's temporary. I'm going to be here 2 or 3 years dealing with these badass Negroes, niggers, or whatever they want to call us, because that's what they do. Okay? And I'm going to go here. I'm going to deal with Trey Bell and Takesha
and I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to deal with it and I'm getting out of here. And that's exactly what they do. So when you have people like that coming into the schools with black children, again, it's another way to affirm them supposedly being inferior. No one loving or caring about them. You have the parents in the community who are oftentimes struggling, just trying to work and make ends meet. So all of these things, that whole dynamic was created by integration, people. Understand that. Because when you have black teachers, black professionals and administrators in your school, you have black children with an ability to see black professionals at work. You have black children in a position to go to school and deal with teachers who also have black children, who also may come from those same communities, or may have a better understanding of the cultural condition of our people. That doesn't mean every black teacher is good or gives a damn or whatever. It doesn't mean any of that. But your chances are going to be much higher than when you're taking these people who are not a part of the community, okay, who are simply there to do their time to get their little money and to move on. And that's really just the truth of the situation. Before I move on, did anybody want to say anything about that? Are y'all there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Okay. So the teachers part, the teachers is very interesting because 50,000 teachers, that's a lot of teachers. And then the jobs were gone. Everything was taken from the black community at that point in time because we weren't allowed to go to certain hotels. We weren't allowed to shop at certain stores at a certain time and things of this nature. That's why it was important for our communities and our people to be close and to know your neighbors and things of this nature and the barter and shop with each other. It's not a new concept to buy black, but when you don't buy black, you understand that is, the recessive portion of it would be to commence the integration and go into these other stores and schools and things of this nature. And once again, I don't really think it was necessarily that the little girl wanted to go to a white school. She just wanted her school to have the same opportunity. So I think that's where the whole message really got confused. That's where the message got confused, that we wanted to be white some kind of way, that we thought that having better was being white, when we never thought that. We never wanted to be white. We never really thought, but wait a minute, some black people did want to be white people because that's where their mindset was. But like I said, once again, a lot of these communities of black people, we had to be with each other. You understand? So it wasn't you shouldn't have to walk to school 5 miles. You understand? That's a long, who can walk 5 miles? You understand? Like every single morning, every single night, you walking 5 miles. I mean, what are you going to school for? It's going to take you how long to get there, and then how long to get back, and then how long you have to stay there. You see what I'm saying? So integration is terrible. Integration is terrible because now we're seeing diversity and inclusion, which the only thing that means is be white or lose your job or do what we say to do or lose your job. It has nothing to do with being culturally diverse and things of this nature. It has nothing to do with it. You cannot be yourself around these people. But when you come to black people, you can be yourself, you can be this, black people giving you a pass and things of this nature. We cannot give ourselves away that freely. We can't. They're giving us nothing. They're stealing everything from us. All jobs here in Baltimore City are gone. There are no jobs. Baltimore City is right by the harbor. Why don't we have jobs? We had, import-export business, which we still do, but it's not the black people that are running it now. We had manufacturing businesses and warehouses and things of this nature, not anymore. Men did not have to even go to any type of school to get some type of manual labor job that would earn them $35 an hour. That was not unheard of here in Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're seeing now is pretty much integration. Pretty much is like when the military goes to these other countries, what do they do with the economy? They disrupt it. What is that called? But that's what they're doing right now in our destabilization, right? So they're destabilizing, and you said it was 1954. My mother wasn't even born in 1954. Okay, so this is very, very new. This is not something, right? So this is not something that that we, my mother did experience it, of course, because when she was going to school and things of that nature, like in the 70s and stuff. But the thing about it is that this is new to us. This is not something that's old. It's new. It's not old, and we never really had a chance to have our own government and to have, have our own everything, even after the civil rights, because they thought that, like I said, they destabilized our economy. They destabilized our education. They destabilized our families. That is a military tactic. Integration is a military tactic. It's death. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I got it to come back up finally. Psycho, did you want to say something before I go to the next point on here?
Yeah, well, again, it falls back to the economy. Integration did a horrible job at trying to maintain the economy in the Black community. It pretty much neutralized any way for us to try to establish our own business and our own corporations or whatever, because we was unable to compete with the white corporations. We didn't have the manpower, we didn't have the resources, whatever. We had to when we put things up for retail, we had to put it at a certain price so we can be able to maintain to keep the business going. These corporations come in, they selling it cheaper, because they getting it dimes on the dollar, opposed to us is getting a quarter on the dollar. So, like, we can't compete with that. And, again, they have enough money to employ more people and have bigger stores, cheaper prices, everything else. Where people gonna go shopping at? They're gonna go shopping where things are cheaper. So if you can't compete, if you can't have your margins set the way you can actually compete with these big corporations, which is next to impossible when you're a small business trying to come up, and then you're screwed. And we see the same effect go on now. Like, we hear the Europeans complain about Walmart now, because that's pretty much what Walmart's doing to these Europeans. Like, Walmart going to these little rural areas where these Europeans had they little small towns with the little downtown areas or whatever, with the little shopping areas where all the little mom and pop stores be and everything, and people been going there since they was kids and all this other stuff. Now next thing you know, this big fancy Walmart 24-hour supermarket gets put somewhere like a half a mile away that sucked all the business out. And next thing you know, they got to go out of business because they couldn't compete with Walmart. So now they crying foul. But we've been going through this since we signed the civil rights bill. Nobody seemed to care about that. You know what I'm saying? But when Europeans get affected by this capitalism, it becomes a problem. So, I just find it real funny when I hear them crying about things we've been going through for decades. But yeah, I'll pass it, Mike.
Absolutely. You're so right, and I agree with that. And I want to actually get to a point to go in on that. I'm going to try to get this wrapped up here. I'm going to try to hit these points really quick, because I do want to make sure we get back into MLK, because I have a lot to say on that. I'm sure we all have a lot more to say on that. But yeah, what you were just saying, Psycho, is 100, because what's so funny is this is what you'll hear a lot of people say today. And you'll hear white people say it, and you'll hear Black folks say it. Well, just go start a business. Like, people say that
like it's just the easiest thing in the world to do.
Right.
Like you said, you have to be able, first of all, to compete. What is it that you're doing? What arena are you going into? And then where's the capital coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone is able to, not everyone has the capital or is able to get the capital. Okay? So, like, let's be clear. So when people throw that out there as if black people should just all run out and start businesses, we have to know more than that. We have to become more financially educated about these types of things. We do have great brothers out here, like Brother Garfield, Brother Q Butter, Brother Kansu, who work in the financial arena. Well, help with your credit and giving you some information like that. So that's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, when people just throw that out there as if that's the solution to every aspect, they're still ignoring that under integration, that was to help remove a lot of the wealth that black people could develop or have for ourselves because of owning our own businesses and things like that. So all of those things are a symptom of that. But anyway, so that was the first point, was about the economics, the ownership of wealth, how integration stifled that. The next point is the black family structure. The black family structure collapsed after integration. From 1890 to 1950, black women married at higher rates than white women, despite a consistent shortage of black males due to their higher mortality rate. According to a report released by the Washington, D.C. think tank Urban Institute, the state of African American family is worse today than it was in the 1960s, 4 years before President Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act. In 1965, only 8% of childbirth in the black community occurred out of wedlock. Wow. 8%, y'all. And that's in 1965. In 2010, that figure was 41%. And today, out of wedlock births in the black community is at an astounding 72%. Wow. Researchers Heather Ross and Isabel Wahil argue that marital stability is directly related to the husband's relative socioeconomic standing and the size of the earnings difference between men and women. I agree. Instead of focusing on maintaining black male employment to allow them to provide for their families, Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act with full affirmative action for women. The act benefited mostly white women and created a welfare system that encouraged removal of the black male from the home. Thank you. Many black men were also dislodged from their families and pushed into the rapidly expanding prison industrial complex, that's right, that developed in the wake of the rising unemployment. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next point. There's so much on that to go in on, but it's not by accident that you have this situation of quote-unquote affirmative action, right? Primarily help white women, but of course put black women ahead of the black man, within employment and all of that. You had that happen. Also, let's not forget about the war. Let's not forget about, then you have the welfare program to help, encourage not having the male in the home. And when people and then also add to that the prison industrial complex. Because it was if you look back into, it was the 70s, around the mid-70s, early 70s, where you see the prison population rate as far as black men began to go way up. And I want to say since that time is gone 4 times that or something to that extent. So yeah, you see all of those things kind of happening within about a decade of each other. And that was not by accident, it was 100% by design. All right. The unemployment rate of black men quadrupled after integration. Since integration, the unemployment rate of black men has been spiraling out of control. In 1954, white men had a 0% unemployment rate, y'all. In 1954, white men had a 0% unemployment rate, while African American men experienced about a 4% rate. By 2010, it was 16.7% for black men compared to 7.7% for white men. In the workforce, the workforce in 1954 was 79% African American. By 2011, the workforce in 1954 was 79% African American. By 2011, that number had decreased to 57%. The number of employed black women, however, has increased. In 1954, 43% of African American women had jobs. By 2011, 54% of black women are job holders. Although the earnings gap between African Americans and their white peers has narrowed, it still persists, with the black man earning about 70% of a white man's income. In 1960, black men earned about 60% of what white men were paid. So it's basically saying that you earned about 10% more of the white man's income. Okay, so now the black man isn't making 60% of his income. He's making 70% of the white man's income. Woo-hoo! Right? You're not equal now. Sit down, nigga. No. But we'll give you 70% now. You know what I'm saying? And then, but the unemployment rate is much higher than what it was. So here you have fewer jobs, right, making a drop in the bucket more, and you're still not making equivalent though to what a white man makes. The only way a black man, and this is for real, look this up, the only way a black man can statistically earn an equal amount to a white man is if he is a homosexual. Homosexual black men are on par, or very close to on par, with the earnings of white men in those same positions. That's real. But outside of that, if you're a regular brother out here who's straight up heterosexual, you're not out here twisting and whatever and effeminized, you know, they're always going to pay you less. All right, let me go to the next point. Okay. Myth of a colorblind society propagated after integration. The civil rights movement pushed for laws that would create a colorblind society, where people would not be restricted from access to education, jobs, voting, travel, public accommodations, or housing because of race. However, legislation has been ineffective in eradicating white privilege. That's funny. And everyone's going to. But anyway, Michael K. Brown, professor of politics at University of California, Santa Cruz, co-author of Whitewashing Race, Myth of a Colorblind Society, is that in the U.S., the color of one's skin still determines success or failure, poverty or affluence, illness or health, prison or college. Family, this is exactly why we are in a caste system, okay? Basically meaning that the color you're born, okay, the race you're born, and the color you're born is going to determine basically where you start and end in life, okay? And that's not to say people can't move up or people can't. It's not based on that. It's not based on the anomaly. So it's based upon in general, okay? And in general, this has really been the case. But anyway, let me go back to the story. Colorblind policies that treat everyone the same, no exceptions, historically oppressed and disenfranchised, are often used to argue against progressive policies such as affirmative action. But colorblindness today really bolsters the unfair advantages that color-coded practices enable white Americans to accumulate over a very long time. So needless to say, we know we're not in a colorblind society. We know we are not no damn post-racial. People were trying to say that because of Obama. Oh, we're post-racial now. You know, America has conquered its racial issues because, hey, there's been a so-called black president. Okay. And this is the last point right here. All right, the last point I'm going to give y'all. The black community became dependent after integration. African Americans have appealed to the descendants of our oppressors to right their ancestors' wrongs, pay us sufficient wages to take care of our families, educate our children, and police our neighborhoods. As a result, only 2% of all working black Americans work for another black person. Damn. 2% within their own neighborhood. Because of this, professionally trained black people provide very little economic benefit to the black community. It's true. The black median household income is about 64% that of whites, while the black median wealth is about 16% of that of whites. Millions of black children are being miseducated by people who don't care about them, and they are unable to compete academically with their peers. At the same time, the criminal justice system has declared war on young black men with policies such as stop and frisk and three strikes. Marcus Garvey warned about this thing. Lagging behind in the van of civilization will not prove our higher abilities. Being subservient to the will and caprice of progressive races will not prove anything superior in us. Being satisfied to drink of the dregs from the cup of human progress will not demonstrate our fitness as a people to exist alongside of others. But when of our own initiative, we strike out to build industries, governments, and ultimately empires, then and only then will we as a race prove to our Creator and to man in general that we are fit to survive and capable of shaping our own destiny. Oh man, I love that. Let me read that one more time, y'all. Lagging behind in the van of civilization will not prove our higher abilities. Being subservient to the will and caprice of progressive races will not prove anything superior in us. Being satisfied to drink of the dregs from the cup of human progress will not demonstrate our fitness as a people to exist alongside of others. But when of our own initiative we strike out to build industry, governments, and ultimately empires, then and only then will we as a race, man in general, that we are fit to survive and capable of shaping our own destiny. Okay, so that's the end of that. But I love that, and that's so on point, which is basically saying that, you know, us trying to go along to get along, that's not helping us. It's never going to help us. It's never going to further us. Us having our own mission, our own goals, creating for what we want to do. That's the only way. And I agree with that 100%. Because what has happened is, and Dr. Amos Wilson talks about this as well, especially with, you know, being college educated. As he said, there are many black students in college right now being trained to put a black face to white power. And as he also talks about, how can one be intelligent but not use their intelligence to improve the condition of their race? Then that's not intelligence. And I mean, absolutely, that's 100% well said. So when we have you know, you see a lot of black folks today who are, you know, hoity-toity, I'll put it in those terms, you know, to where, okay, well, have however many degrees, and, you know, I work for this corporation or whatever. And as it even says in what I was reading earlier, that those people don't contribute to the black community because they move out of the community. They move out, so how are you then benefiting the
community because you are showing, no, I got to get away from y'all. I got to go over here with these white people. I'm working for this white corporation. I'm making this particular amount, which they're still making less money than white people. Black people in corporate America are still making far less, okay, than white people are making. However, this is a means for many of them to, quote, get out of the hood. And I always found that kind of wild to me because even when you hear people, and I don't even want to say this person's name, but they so-called in the practice community, and they was recently with a trans or whatever. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. And they was saying, oh, I got to move out here to Inspire, and I can't have my children going this and that. People act like there are not decent black communities anywhere in this country.
Right.
They act like, you know what I'm saying? They act like every single community is like, you walk where's black people, you walk down the street and you might get shot. You know what I'm saying? Like 7 days or 6 days out of the week, somebody gets killed on your block. Like, that's not every black community. Like, stop it. It's people out here, it's tons of working class black communities where people are going to work every day, trying to do right by their children. Everybody is not in where it's gunfire back and forth. And even on top of that, the communities that they try to say are the most violent are not as violent as they try to promote to people. A lot of that is propaganda. As I did the story before on Chicago and breaking that down of how, you know, that's being gentrified and all of that, and that the so-called most dangerous parts of the city are so many white people are coming in buying their stuff up, and they just waiting it out. Mm-hmm. They ain't that scared. They ain't that scared because they gonna come in there and they gonna get their property. And then if you are a black person with means, then why don't you use those means to better your community? First of all, to make sure your house is secure. Honey, they got alarm systems, okay? They got fences. They got damn dogs and everything else. You can protect your property. Why can't you be a symbol? And there's something Dr. Amos Wilson also talked about in respect to himself, that he wanted to remain living in predominantly black communities because he wanted to be an example to the black children who saw him, who knew him, that you can be a professional, you can be a doctor, a psychologist, and you can still live in the black community.
Mm-hmm. That's real.
Go ahead, Franco, if you want to say something.
No, I was saying that's real because, you know, a lot of people got this misconception that the only good communities are white communities because everybody associate a black community with, you automatically think about the projects, back alleys, crack valves everywhere, this, that, and third. That's automatically associated when you think about the black community. Exactly. And there's plenty of black communities that aren't even like that. Almost, matter of fact, almost every big city has a certain section of that city that has like the middle class black people that live there. I'm pretty sure you can find it in almost every major city. So this little narrative that we have to get out and live around white daddy and white mommy, or else we ain't make it. Like this is silly. It's a colonized mindset. It's people trying to live out the American dream, which is white picket fence, dog, and living and having white neighbors. That's the white dream. Everybody want to live the American dream. No, you don't need white neighbors. You can have your picket fence, you can have your dog, but you don't need white neighbors. Get that out your head.
I agree wholeheartedly. Nikki, did you want to say anything before I move on to the next part?
What you were saying about the homosexuals having a higher pay position, even than some of the white men, okay? So let's take D-Ray McKeeson. They keep saying he's a Black Lives Matter, whatever. But where he came from was he came from America and AmeriCorps and Teach for America, which was AmeriCorps was actually started. It's like a where you volunteer in a certain neighborhood or for a certain nonprofit. It's of the United States of America. I forgot which president started it, but what they do is, like you said, they give you a certain amount of money to do certain things in certain neighborhoods. So he did, allegedly, I can't prove it, that he was supposed to be here under AmeriCorps and Teach for America. So what AmeriCorps does is they give you like a stipend. So I think they said he was at Harlem Park. So Harlem Park is right at the base of Sandtown, which is the pretty great area. And so they're saying that he was in that school for, I think he did for like 2 years, and then they give you a certain amount off of your loan. Okay? And so now we're seeing that all of it is connected to the White House, okay? All of it. Because we can follow it all the way back to when he was going to the White House with that blue vest on and things of this nature. He's supposed to be a part of My Brother's Keeper. He was a part of My Brother's Keeper. He was a spy, like I said from the beginning. And nobody in Baltimore knows him. I don't know anywhere he's ever been. He's never been, as you can see, even when he's quote-unquote protesting and things of this nature, he's by himself. So we can see that he was a government operative. So that's what integration is doing, right? He's using all of his education opportunities and his homosexuality to move up the ranks and to keep us down, to keep, he just got this job here in Baltimore, and I think he got the job last year. So everybody knows that they were calling him a Black Lives Matter activist. Now, as far as we know, he wasn't getting paid for that, right? That wasn't a paid position, or was it? You see what I'm saying? So then he comes to Baltimore City, and he is given a position that is making about $165,000 per year. And it says he was a prominent Black Lives Matter activist, and he plans to leave his $165,000 per year job as Chief Human Capital Officer. Okay? Chief Human Capital Officer. I would suggest that you look up what a Chief Human Capital Officer does. And he's a Baltimore public school after a brief rocky tenure, so he can devote more time to demonstrations and his podcast. Now, who needs $165,000 job to do demonstrations and podcasts unless it's more lucrative? You understand what I'm saying? So this is what they gave to Baltimore City, and they're saying that we're having so much problems in the public schools and things of this nature. That's all a part of integration, so-called civil rights. This is the destruction that this Black man single-handedly, okay, yes, he had handlers and things of this nature. He did. But as we can see, from what we can see, no one was working with him and nobody wanted to work with him. He kind of had a little diva-tude and things of this nature. So that is another area of integration that is really a killer. So he had everything wrapped up into one. He had homosexuality. He's an effeminate Black male. He was all ready to commit himself to being a spy in the Black community. He wore a blue rigged, ready for action vest. Okay, everybody knows it was, and he's from the White House. His handlers was the White House. Every time you seen him, I mean, the program that he was from is directly from the United States. So we can track some of these things down and see exactly and pinpoint some of these people. You see what I'm saying? What's going on? But I'm just glad he's gone and he's going to leave our children alone. But he was only here to usher in homosexuality, okay, for human capital, okay. So which means he's putting prices on all the little homosexual children, how much it costs, you know what I'm saying, to sell to other children into homosexuality and commit to child trafficking. That's it. Right. But that's right.
And that's one of the parts of integration is the fact that you
are then in a position to take on your oppressor's ways. And you look at our community today, and you see a lot of the things that we're doing and how we're behaving. And we're, you know, dysfunctional. I mean, they're dysfunctional, but you look at the dysfunction, though, of our people, and it's directly connected to that. And so when you are in a society that not only doesn't affirm you, but criminalizes you, goes out of their way to degrade you, what are the expectations? You know, what can you expect to have from that? Because it's so interesting. People always feel that Black people should be some supernatural people, that we should be able to have all of these awful circumstances that we're in and grow up to be perfection and get the hell out of here. We know that our communities are purposely flooded with drugs. Our communities, I talked earlier about education, purposely, the Black school was purposely destroyed. At least the functioning, healthy Black schools that we once had were destroyed. You had all of the different programs that were taken out of the schools where, young Black people could become or be trained, in different trade programs. Thus, they can get out of high school and go and have gainful employment to provide for themselves and families without ever going to college. You have all of these different things that have been done to our community, and people somehow think that Black people should just be able to overcome all of that and not have anything to say about it. And I mean, that just really blows my mind. But as far as the D-Ray thing, he definitely is used to usher in homosexuality that much more, to further help intertwine the so-called LGBT whatever movement, equating that with Blackness. And honestly, at this point, the LGBT has exceeded. They've gone beyond Blackness. Like, they don't need to attach themselves to Blackness as much as they once did. Because now, and it's interesting, you can see this in social media. Let you say something about somebody LGBT, whatever. People who are not even that, mind you, immediately are up in arms and, you shouldn't say that, and, that's this and that's that. But let you say something about a Black person, and nobody has anything to say. No one cares. No one says, that's offensive, that's wrong to say about Black people or a Black person. It's like, and so, just looking in general of how this whole thing has affected us, it just blows my mind. But I want to get into speaking about, let me say this too. The whole idea with, integration, I'm not speaking on this to disrespect our elders, our ancestors. I'm not speaking on this to say that they hurt us, that they were bad or wrong, but we are supposed to keep pushing the ball forward. We are supposed to learn from the past. That's just the reality. And so I feel like it's only fitting that with the condition that we remain in today, that we look at that. We look at what effect has this had overall. I understand so many of our ancestors and elders who were out there who were getting water hose and dog sticks on them. We've seen all of the clips and the videos and the pictures. A lot of us know, our elders in our family who have spoken about a lot of the things that have happened during that time period. So it's not to be disrespectful, okay? But I'm kind of like of the school of there really are no sacred cows. That's just kind of how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you are respectfully critiquing, you are critiquing with the purpose of being constructive. You are critiquing with the purpose of trying to learn and grow from that. I don't see a problem with it. So when you have people who come with this rhetoric about, well, you can't talk about MLK and he's done, unless you've done as much as he can or as much as he did, you can't speak about him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Have a seat. Have a seat, whoever is saying that. That's what we're supposed to be here to do.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be here, like I said, respectfully. Respectfully. Okay?
Yeah.
So people need to get over it. Oh, go ahead, Psycho.
Yeah, and it's just a bunch of things that people just don't even really put in perspective. Like I was saying the other day, people should always be careful of what leadership Europeans are throwing in front of us, as far as like who should represent us or who should be the poster child to represent us. Europeans tell us who our leaders are. They tell us who we should. They tell us who we should idolize. You understand? Like, because that's pretty much what happened. Like, they swept all the Black Power people under the rug in these European school books and put Martin Luther King on a pedestal. If you let the school books call it, Martin Luther King and maybe Medgar Evers or somebody like and Rosa Parks were the only civil rights leaders we had. If you let the Europeans tell it, because that's all you saw in the school books. Like because you didn't see no Malcolm X's, no Marcus Garveys, no Stokely Carmichaels, none of that. You don't. That's why most Black people don't even learn about the Black Panthers, the original Panthers, or Marcus Garvey, or any of these people until after school, or they learned about it outside of school. They might have learned while they was in school, but it wasn't in school. They learned about it outside of school. You know, doing their own research. You understand? Like, this is why we're so far miles behind in our own history, because we're allowing Europeans to tell us what's going on. We're allowing them to tell us who should be our leaders and everything. It just amazes me. And another thing that should always be a red flag is, why is it that every time we knock heads with some Europeans, and the first thing they want to start doing is saying, you're ashamed of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wouldn't do. How would Martin Luther King feel if you spoke like this? And Martin Luther King, he's always the first person they throw up in your face to try to calm you down, try to get you, try to make you more docile. Like, okay, try to put you back under that spell. Okay, calm down. It's like the cup. Calm down. It sounds like Yep, exactly. Calm down. It sounds like you done took a red pill. Calm down. Take this blue pill, and you know, take this Martin Luther King blue pill with you, and get back in the matrix, and you know, everything will be okay. You know, you know, it's like the teacup in that Get Out movie where the chick just kept stirring it, and every time she stirred it, the dude went right back under the trance. That's how they do it. Martin Luther King. They did Martin Luther King, and it's like, oh, boop, right back in the trance. Jedi mind trick. Jedi mind trick. This is what they do. Black people do it too. Black people ain't just the white people. Black people, whenever you start talking too radical, the first thing they want to do is throw Martin Luther King up in your face and talk about how great he was, how he followed the nonviolent, he did it the right way, the nonviolent way, and everything else. And when he was following the racist, Gandhi. Gandhi can care less about black people. Gandhi called black people in Africa a bunch of savages. He called them a bunch of savages. He said that that the Indians in South Africa was far more superior than the black Africans because they was nothing but a bunch of savages. And then we turn around and we adopt his ideology. It's embarrassing. It's like, I don't know. But like I said, whenever I speak on these things, Martin Luther King fans go crazy. But I'm speaking nothing but the truth. I'm not kicking dirt on his name.
The truth is important. You know, the truth is important because that's what I'm saying. I'm a little bit on the fence about it. I'm being truthful. I mean, cause it's hard to say. You know, I wasn't there, but I do feel that at this point, if he was one of these little activists that went down to that meeting today and got locked up and about the gun, they trying to do mandatory minimum here, I would probably say, yeah, Conan. You know what I'm saying? I would probably be like, hold up, I'm going to, you know, you gonna tell me that I need to take my black dollars and go to a white place where they gonna spit in my food and pour ketchup on my head? Oh no, that joint wouldn't be standing by the time I left. I'm sorry. It just wouldn't. Nobody wouldn't be going to jail. Let me tell you, nobody would go to jail. All right. So that's just how it would be. Nobody probably wouldn't even make it out of there. You got too much going on. That's fire, pans, hot grease, grits, whatever you got going on. and that's what's going on. Because I'm not having it. Like, and you gotta think to yourself, like, who came up with that strategy?
Yes.
Who came up with making us look like a bunch of weak punks? Like, I'm not ready. I'm just not. And no, my grandmother wasn't with that crap. She didn't play. My uncles, all of them was like had guns behind the door, shotguns. I don't know if y'all heard stories about people having shotguns in their house, like safety brothers. But that's just the way it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, we lived with guns. It wasn't we being peaceful with no white people. My family had to walk through the woods just so the white people went and see them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not going down like that. It wasn't never like we was living in fear. It's just we was protecting ourselves. And the one thing we wasn't ready to do is go to some white people and give them our money and then smile in their face, even though they punching us in the back of the head. Like, no, come on, no. Who came up with that MLK? I really want to know. So if you want to tell me, that's fine. If you don't want to let me know, that's fine. But it's like some of that stuff, come on now, we're going to go down there taking hoses with water and stick dogs on us? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So let's get into it.
That's not showing our superiority.
Right. And that's basically what Marcus Garvey was basically saying in that quote I read earlier. You know, this being subservient or whatever. But the thing about it is, this is my issue with Martin Luther King. Sorry. My issue with Martin Luther King Jr. is as follows. Now, let me just say, like I said, I have respect for him. I know that, you know, during that time it was a different time, you know. It's racist today, but it still remains, but things are just done differently. So I get that. I understand that. Now, my issue with him is that, like Nikki was saying, I am not for the whole idea of people can do anything they want to you, and you just keep on marching and singing. Like, I don't agree with that. I just don't. And as you know, a quote by Malcolm X, nobody can give you freedom. If you're a man, you take it. And I'm more in step with a show of force. I feel like at that time having a show of force, but it not being on, hey, we're just gonna be pacifists. Now, speaking of homosexuals, the Banger Rustin guy, that's what he was, a pacifist, okay? He was basically the #1 top advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. Now, a pacifist is somebody who basically says there will be violence under no circumstances. Like, you can do whatever to me, I'm still never going to be violent with you, even in terms of self-defense, okay? So I disagree with that point. I just do, you know, so I can't get around that. But, you know, outside of that, I have to be very honest, and I know Nikki kind of mentioned it earlier, but I have to be very honest, and this also goes into a point that I put on the flyer about, you know, how swirling, you know, was swirling a part of the, however I put it on the flyer, civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr. was a swirler. Like, let's be clear, he was a swirler. And he was someone who was with a white woman, a white girl. She was like a cafeteria worker.
She was more so like a white trash type of woman. She was like a low-class white woman, which was funny to me because I'm like, damn, even back in the 50s and stuff, or 40s and all that, you still had black men slumming with the type of white women they was with. So, and I'm not trying to say that to be like ultra disrespectful or anything, but that's just real. Because today you see a lot of brothers with scummy type white women. So anyway, she was a lower class white woman, and his father was very much so against it. Because Martin Luther King Jr., he basically came up in a really good living, like a class level, for black people during that time. So his father was basically on there, like, she's not no comparison for you. You know, like, she's beneath you, this white girl. Like, he wasn't feeling that. She was a white trash girl. So he wanted to marry this woman, okay? And so the father basically talked him out of it, whatever the case may be. So no, he did not marry a white woman, or I'm not even going to say he didn't try to, because he did try to. But again, he listened to his father. But so he was a swirler. So to me, I feel like that has a whole part to do with the civil rights movement as well. Now, as Psycho said earlier, Nikki said this earlier, and I agree 100%. I don't think, Psycho, you may have said it, so I don't know, it's been a minute. But I don't think his whole motivation was about that. I don't think it was like, oh, I'm just motivated. No, we know he had a black wife, Miss Coretta Scott King, and we know that, However, they said, he had affairs and different things, and it's publicly noted that he had affairs with white women as well, which I'm not going to say I necessarily believe that or that I don't, but if he did, I could see that, because a man who, especially in that time, was already wanting to marry a white woman, I could see him, if he did choose to be, cheat on his wife, I could see him dealing with a white woman. I could see that, okay? So I'm not saying if it did or didn't, I'm not trying to dirty his name or whatever, but I'm just saying. So we have to be honest when we look at these things, and we look sometimes at people's motivation for certain things. So I think that his main motivation was most definitely because he cared about the black community. He loved black people. I definitely believe that. However, I think there was a part there where he did want it to be more acceptable, more open, where people could interracially date, interracially marry. I 100% believe that. And so when you look at some of these other people during that time who were supposedly parts of the civil rights movement, you see quite a few of them engaged in interracial marriages and relationships. You have women like you have Maya Angelou, who she was with two white men. I think she married two white men. And she was supposed to be a part of
civil rights movement.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was disagreeing with you. Civil rights movement, another example.
Exactly. Let's keep it 100. Like, a lot of that was about sharing your bed, okay? Being able to share your bed if you wanted to with a white person. And during that time, it wasn't a whole lot of other races and stuff over here like that. So it mainly was black and white. You know what I'm saying? Which, y'all know, for me, it's only black people and then it's everybody else. So they Mexican, honey, they're not black. Okay? So that's how I look at it. But anyway, so during that time, it was mainly just black and white. But, so you look at people like, what's his name, Sidney Poitier, who was, a part of the civil rights movement in that time as well. And, he married a white woman. Now, Harry Belafonte, I believe that he is biracial, but he was talking all that, and especially during that time, you were still black. Like, they really was on that one drop rule during that time. So you had somebody like him who was with a white woman. You had so many others. I had a whole list
I had a whole list I'm trying to bring up if I can find it. But you had so many people who were, out here marching and giving money to the movement and these types of things, who were in interracial relationships. Now, if y'all remember recently when Dr. Umar was on Roland Martin's show on News One, and that whole situation that went down, which Dr. Umar he killed it on there, okay? But the one brother on there who was kind of like the only one who was somewhat riding with or siding with Umar a little bit, he was talking about that, and he was speaking on how his mother, who was active in the civil rights movement, was saying, that they talk black and they're sleeping white. Mm-hmm. And so, he said that was a common thing. So it absolutely was. So while those of us who are for black power and black liberation, many of us would like to think that people's ultimate motivation is because they care about black people. We got to remember that's not everybody's ultimate thing. That's not everybody's main reason for speaking the way that they do. Some people's main reason is because they want to be able to get with other people. So now in the Black Power movement, you're seeing where it's this reclassifying of the black man and who he can be with, right? So, of course, for the longest time, it's like, oh, you can't be with white people and be so-called black power. But now they have this so-called indigenous, so-called all this other stuff, right? Oh, they mixed. Oh, this person is Mexican. Oh, they this and that. Mexicans are black and all this other crazy stuff. I would pay money to see one of these black people go to how they have their group called La Raza, called the race, and it's like Mexicans and everything. Yeah. I would love to see one of these people go to one of their little rallies or they things and walk up in there with all of them and be like, yeah, y'all black. I would love to see that go down. I would love to see them go out there to Cali where the Mexicans out there killing black people.
They'll set them
and
straight.
Go quick. To the, hey, y'all black. I would love to see that.
I can't, and people that talk this madness, again, these are swirlers. They swirlers.
Exactly.
These are people trying to justify these sick fetishes. They trying to make everybody black so they can ease their conscience of why they want to sit up here and sleep with them. And it's disgusting. It's like we're gonna stop playing these little stupid games, all right? Because everybody isn't black. You know what I mean? Especially with the Latino thing. People really like to muddy the water with the Latino thing. Yes, they are Afro Latinos out here, but everybody that's Latino does not have African blood in them. So we're gonna stop playing these games. Mexicans are they are Aztecs originally. They're the Aztec Indians originally before Spain took over. Them Spaniards went down there and took the place over, indoctrinated them with their religion and their culture, their language, and pretty much the rest is history. But there's nothing black about these Mexicans. Y'all gonna stop playing.
Hell no, people need to stop with that. Cut that out. Listen to me.
Y'all, they like a box of crayons, Pharrell, or burrito. Oh, did I say that?
What'd you say?
No, but anyway, they're not something. I said they was like a box of crayons.
Mm-hmm.
Like a square shape. They short. They don't look like us. They don't have hair like us. They nothing. I mean, they're all black people, of course, and Mexico, of course. However, please stop putting everybody that you might think is mixed or whatever as black. Please stop, because I hate that. And that's a terrible thing to do as well, because it's like we are the only ones extending ourselves to everyone else, and no one is extending themselves to us. No, that's sick. That's crazy.
And that's exactly why that's why he said we got to be out of our damn mind. For us to exist like this, we have to literally be insane. 864, I'm going to come to you in 1 second. Your mic is up. I think that's Brother Equanice. But I just want to say this to people listening, because I know people listen to the show. We got
quite a few people on the line, on the phone lines. I haven't been to the chat yet, but listen, and people will listen to it after this. Honey, this is Black power over here, okay? I'm not seeking to be inclusive with other races of people. I'm not trying to say, oh, these mixed, they black, and I don't want to hear none of that. I'm for black people, point blank, period. And if you don't like it, then you can move along. We have this thing I call the BPIM. And the BPIM, sadly, is taking over a lot of places, but it's still a lot of us that's holding strong, okay? But the BPIM is the Black Power Integrationist Movement, okay? So this is what we have. This is what I call it. So this is what we have now. So you got fools who, I'm not even going to say their name because it's over and done and dead, and they just, whatever they are anyway. But who putting out their pictures with Becky's and all this stuff, dashikis and all this. Okay. You have people running around trying to justify that. You have people running around saying, my woman is indigenous. Huh? Is she black? Like, people with this old crazy mess and see, that's y'all problem. Y'all just about black, this and that. Well, why shouldn't we be? Why shouldn't we be? I was on this thing last night, and then I'm coming with like, let me just say this real quick. I was on this thing last night because I do a lot of research, y'all. I just be scoping out different things, putting different things together, and I was in this like chat of these or hangout thing of these white, these alt-white, whatever, and they're Trump supporters, whatever. And these white folk, and I just sat back and was observing. These white folk was going ham. They talked about black people like funky, dirty, tall. 90 seconds. And I was thinking like, because I was thinking to myself, it was this guy who was on this black dude who was on another hangout. And he was saying before how, this was on Truthfully Honest channel. And he was saying how, shout out to Sister Truthfully Honest. This guy was on there talking about how y'all doing, talking about these colors and this and that. Every white person ain't knowing that. All these, they not all white people are bad and all of that same bullshit, okay? That I'm sick and tired of hearing from these weak ass Negroes. That's what they are. They're weak ass Negroes. And this Black Power Integrationist movement has got to stop. It's got to end. If you are not for Black Power, then go over there. I don't get why these people want to come around people who they know uphold blackness and are race first, race period. I don't know why they come around and they want to try to inject. Well, I do know why, because some of them are being paid to do that. Some are not. But they want to come around and inject this bullcrap into, what's going on. And so they want to try to convince black people who are pro-black, they want to try to convince you that we are making up stuff in our head and, not all white people are bad and it's really not like that. And, it's more black people who try to hurt me in my life than white people did. It's some cool white people out here. Let me tell you something. All white people are racist. All of them. Period. I'm sorry. Just a period after that for me. It's not no damn comma. And people want to try to make that whatever they want it to be. Listen, in the integrationist system, the people who are in the position of power and control will remain there, and the other people will be expected to assimilate. They will be expected to change. They will be expected to get in line. And like Psycho was saying, when they use Martin Luther King Jr., that's to get you back in line. Get in line, nigga. Don't you sit up here and try to have no real revolutionary thoughts.
I know that.
No, you get in line with a nonviolent Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream that one day, and it's still a dream. And it's still a dream. Why the dream became a reality? If all these white people ain't racist and they uphold Martin Luther King so much, why is it still a dream? Go ahead, peace, brother Equanese. How you doing? And I see you, brother E and brother Prince. I'm gonna bring y'all in, and you have the floor. Peace, brother Equanese.
Peace. Black love to all you beautiful Africans, and I think just the dynamics in which we are facing is a dynamic basically that is forcing us, those of us that represent nationhood, Black African nationalists, it is forcing us to refine our movement, because this is basically still a baby fucking movement. Even though we done had a Million Man March movement, we still fucking babies. All these movements and shit, they ain't really did nothing because they have been compromised with some sort of European, Arab, somebody else is running the show. You know, even when we go to church, we're praising the white Jesus, and I'm convinced that that's why our people are conditioned to the way that they are. You know, I was on a show last night, and Renee, you know, over there at TRS, you got people like Big Joe and the mother idiots over there in charge. They talking about how love is the thing. Love. Two people love each other. You can't. You know, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Because if you love who you are, you're supposed to love. Love can't do anything externally for you that you're not doing internally for yourself. So when you're looking to define love, you should look at that through your own lenses. When when we look at things of yesterday, and we look at procreating, we want our children to look like our ancestors. You understand? But now we're saying, well, hey, everything we can just love. We want to love men loving men, women loving women. You got the case where we're loving every other race outside of ourselves. You got the dynamics even now where motherfuckers are falling in love with animals. And they say it's okay as long as you love, you love your happiness. No, because love it is a sustainable tool. And that should work as a tool that is helping us as a people, as a generation, as a species progress and move forward. That's why we say Black Power, because we want to implement and roll out things that are going to help us collectively gain and grasp Black Power. And we do know that there's power in numbers. We have to go back to procreation. You understand? That's what Black Power is. That the fact that a woman is going to allow a black man's phallus to be penetrated in her, and they're going to have a black child, just as well as a black man. If he's looking to stick his phallus inside anything, it should definitely be that of a black woman. And we should be doing that with exercise and integrity. And not all, there's some brothers out here in the conscious pro-black community, they pimping women. You understand? I'm not down for none of that cracker shit, because that ain't us. You understand? That's not integrity. So I think a lot of times we have compromised only to become just like the motherfucking cracker that we want to kill, that we want to hurt, that we want to get rid of. But somewhere, Negroes still like to celebrate Christmas. We still like to do all this shit with Thus Says the Cracker. So I do feel like this is a very needed conversation as we're looking to detach ourselves and separate ourselves from this goddamn cracker. Totally.
Yes, I agree. And yes, I know how it is over there in. Yes, I know all too well. And this stuff about love and all that, that's such bull. Like, that is one of the biggest crocks of bull ever. And the reason I say that is because, see, that's what they feed us, to keep us in a state of being subdued, okay? Well, love seeks, because love gonna conquer. Honey, listen, when people sitting up here and they are doing everything in their power to exterminate you,
right. And what's the famous saying?
Where's the love?
And what's the famous
So
saying?
don't come to me with no love, man. You go talk to them. Go talk to them. And this is what I tell people who are on this, not all white people and blah, blah, blah. And some of those people fell in love and all this bullshit. Like Dr. Umar said, honey, marriage is a political situation. Okay? So people can love, people fall in and out of love every day. Every day. Everybody knows that. I'm sure all of us have been in love a time or two. Okay? Love does not conquer all. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. Okay? There are conditions. And there are conditions on love. Like, let's be clear. But in the type of situation that we're in, when there is an extermination campaign on you, don't talk to me about no damn love.
I know that's right. And what's the famous saying? In order for integration to work, you have to believe your oppressor actually has a heart. So that's the only way nonviolence. That's the only way nonviolent is going to work, is unless you believe your oppressor has a heart, and they do not have a heart. So I don't understand why anybody will believe some nonviolent acts is ever going to get us out of this situation. If y'all haven't realized this after 50 years, then you're probably never going to get it.
And because we're
300 years, I mean, they came here violently. They haven't been friendly with anyone. All of that has been fake and phony. Everywhere you see these people, you will see death and destruction.
Don't tell me about no damn love. I don't want to hear that. When people say that, they're doing that to deflect. Be cautious of people who tell you that stuff about love. Well, love is going to conquer all. No, it's not. It's a person going around. I'm not going to say no name, but it's a person. Some of y'all probably will know when I say this, but it's a person going around like this online pro-black community or whatever, and they would try to come in and like they'll try to come in and start talking that stuff about love. Well, it's just about love, and if that's all we gotta do. That's all we gotta do as black people is just have love. Y'all, always be cautious of those types of people. Don't deal with those types of people, because those types of people are feeding you back to a reason.
Putting you to sleep.
They're feeding you back to rock you back to sleep, to deflect from the truth, to deflect from reality, to keep you from waking up or further waking up or staying awake. That's what they're trying to do. And it's not enough to be woke. You have to stay woke. All right, let me do this, y'all, because I need to step away for just a minute. So, Brother E, I open Psycho and Nikki, if y'all could step in for me for a moment.
All right.
If need be. But Brother E, you can go ahead first, and then Brother Prince, your line is open. You can go ahead. Hold on, Brother E. Let me just finish, please. Brother E, you can go first, and then Brother Prince, after Brother E, you can go ahead. All right, I'm listening, y'all, but I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah. What about I say? Shit, I don't know what to say tonight, man. I feel just really wanted this world. They're not. I feel not really honest as a collective. You know, they said they complain about the violence these rich people are doing to us, but they turn behind themselves and go sleep with the enemy. It seems counterproductive at the end of the day as I look at it. I say you can't sit and complain about another race killing you, and you working twice as hard to get in bed with them, both the man and the woman. It's just uncounterproductive. It don't make sense. It really don't make sense at all. That's like saying, you try and look for the good white people. I mean, maybe in the Bible, in the make-believe story, you might look for white Jesus Christ, but not in the reality. See, no saviors can come, no sky to save your black ass. I just don't get it. I mean, it's just ridiculous, especially with the swirling and the black man, with the swirling issue. Isn't it ironic that most of our brothers that talks about this crow shit, black shit, they seem very heavily and eager to go find a Becky that's either obese white woman take as a mate. And now they say that that's like revolutionary. They're not even getting the best of their women, which really none of women's are really best at all anyway. They're getting the lowest of lows, serious lowest of lows. And it makes me think, say, okay, so you tell me, it's better off you invest energy amongst your own women, black women, that's going to look a hell lot better than that white woman and day a week. Even on a bad day, if it's a bad day looking, she's going to still outshine that white woman. I guarantee you that. I mean, it tells you how deep programming goes for generation after generation and for centuries now. Now, we at this point now, and you know, funny thing, Nikki, you there?
No, she's not there right now.
Okay. I did watch, I haven't really finished watching it, but Eric TJ had a video to talk about this interracial coupling. And a lot of people don't understand that when all kingdoms fell, it's not only because people didn't. One of the reasons, people start fighting, you know, because they really had like a problem with power. And then next, you see them start introducing, like, you know, these people that come in now, you start to bring in their women and mess around with the women. Which, you know, I think Chance One did mention that in his book. I can't remember much quote because I read that book years ago. But they talk about this miscegenation issue. And say at the end of all warfare, they will use this again. But this time when they use this type of interracial coupling, it's going to now dilute the gene more, where you don't see black at all within 3 generations. And within 7 generations, the black gene itself is gone. You know? Hell, you see some people now that sit there, screw a white woman, let's say, they're not even producing biracial now. They're just producing pretty much white. You look at most of these children now. I know you guys know I'm talking about Psycho. See a black man with one white woman, you see now they produce almost a white child. Brought back. That tells you how weak the genetics have been diluted for over centuries of rape. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that scheme, that plot that the president in Brazil made, was it 100, maybe 200 years ago, maybe in the 800s, how he's able to control the black population, tell them, so you just breed into them. He said that, you know, if you keep breeding, let's say you force rape somebody, you criminal. Okay. Now you already tainted the bloodline briefly. So what happens with the blood? It stays tainted unless the black person starts saying, I'm about to marry back into that dark genetics, that melanin, real heavy. It eventually starts to wipe off little of that genetic, that resistant Eurocentric genotype. But no, most of people continue to start mixing in and continue to water down after that. So now some of that still is brown. We go around, fuck around with a white woman, especially a black woman. Fuck around with a pecker with. You will instantly make a pecker with baby. A little bit more quicker now than it was, because it took a generation at least. Watered down. But now because we are mixed up for the first few hundred years, it's now simple enough. It's going to take less now. Right now, on the average, now 3 generations just become almost whitewashed, and 7 to completely remove the black gene. That's how this game works. The enemy knows this. That's why he pushes interracial coupling. Everything's done politically, and it's done for a reason. Black men must understand no one's going to give you nothing. You know what I'm saying? And if they give you something, it's usually for your detriment. And history has proven that. Time and that. No one just give you something. They know if they give you something, it means it's for your harm. Period. We didn't fight and kill for it. It's given to you.
Okay,
so it's going to be dead. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yeah, that was good, Brother E. Brother E back on the line. Yeah, you was running it down. You was running it down, but I think we had another caller, right?
Yeah, it's
Prince, I believe, is there.
Yeah.
All right, Prince.
Yeah, I'm right here. Yeah.
Black Power.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Show real loud, real clear.
Okay. Yeah, the integration thing. Dr. Martin Luther King knew in his own mind he fucked up. Let's get that integrated my people in the burden building. Damn right you did. Damn right you did. I don't know what made them think that integration shit is work. We know that the civil rights bill is trash. That all they did was use a minority. Anything could be a minority. Anything. The lesbian, the dyke, the white bitch, you understand, the gay, whoever, and every other race that comes through here. So that bill, that nonviolent struggle was for nothing. It was a mistake. But I do say this about Martin Luther King before he died. He was on RBG, Black Nationalist agenda. So that's why I don't just shit on the nigga all the way. Yeah, he fucked up. But what did he die for? He didn't die for that punk ass bill he got signed. He died when he was talking about getting that check. He was talking about going out in the Memphis trying to get these motherfuckers that money. He was talking about trying to get reparations for black folks. That's what he got that motherfucker. That's what he got his face blowed off for. So he fucked up. I ain't never co-sign that. I ain't never co-sign integration theory. So we had to be, even during that time, we had our own goddamn, we had our own motherfucking taxi cab company. We had our own motherfucking bus lines. You know what I'm saying? Up in D.C., up there in Maryland and shit like that. We had our own movie theaters. You understand? We had a lot of our own shit. We had our own Negro League, baseball. You understand? So the integration was terrible because all it was a desegregation business. We integrated, but all it was desegregation. They ain't accepted us. He had 20 motherfucking white. He cannot. Because if he do, he died. It comes down to the civil white supremacy and what it means. It's white genetic survival. That's why the movie, the last movie, The Planet of the Apes, the last one, I ain't compared to no apes, so you look at the movie, goddamn Caesar was on some Martin Luther King shit early. You know, or we had 100. But you watch the Rise, the Dawn, and then the War, when they finally goddamn killed their family, he ready to kill practice. He ready to go on and be for 100% ape. He ready to be 100% ape or whatever. And he got on that motherfucking game. He got busy. He got busy the whole time. Anytime he steps alive. So the bottom line is this, man. You just gotta goddamn me realize it ain't no love. I said this on the first time I was on one down here with Nate show. Back in 2014, some lady come out is about love. Love ain't got nothing to do with it. Because there's a great saying from Gaines from a different world when he was talking about domestic abuse. The goddamn white man is long enough to tell, goddammit. That's what the white man and the white woman do. They look for niggas to tell. They look for black folks to tell.
Yep.
Because that story he's talking about, that what the black woman said, that woman man, that man don't beat me once a week, he don't love me. He come back and she and him dying, so that man don't love her to death. That's what white folks doing to us. He's loving black folks to death. Ain't about no love. It's about power. Shit, goddamn me. Hey, I got love for animals out here, but I don't goddamn me. I don't power the house to them.
I know that's right.
Shit, you can love your dog, but the dog don't. The dog. We don't give a damn about no dog. Dog eat outside, goddamn it. We don't live in the house. I love Princess and Butch and goddamn me, the Nord and all the motherfucking dogs he had. But that's where their ass was at. Their ass was outside in that motherfucking backyard. They got their food and they got their motherfucking water. Yep. Shit. If you goddamn follow motherfucker, you better go hustle your own goddamn self. So let's keep it 100 out here, man. I don't want no love from the white man.
That's right.
I don't want love from my people only to love ourselves conditionally and get out here and fight for gas and stand up. And stand up and understand that if we come together, we'll dominate this pack of wood. We ain't shit. All the way he survived is the divide and conquer. It's the integration bullshit. You understand all the hustle and game that he's been running. But hell, he ain't falling for us. A lot of black folks falling for us. Motherfuckers waking up every day. Africans waking up every day. We just need to get people to wake up on oneology, man. It's just being about being a parent. It's being for yourself and being for his family. First love you gonna love is if that's supposed to love their family and love your immediate family, they straight.
Can y'all
the hell they business? If everybody on code about you ain't touching my family with this white bullshit, this goddamn me cracking ain't coming in here with that other shit.
Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm gonna say this in this, man. That's why we do what we do down here, man, with our family weekend, man. Just want people to understand it's about us. It ain't about them. Like we say every day, the president could come tomorrow and say, we ain't gonna treat you no more. President come here tomorrow and say, well, you can do whatever you want with the school. Will it treat black history school? No. I don't want it. I want us to teach our babies what we need. I want us to buy from us. There ain't nothing that motherfucker can do. You can't goddamn buy down to me ever.
Okay, Brother Prince.
Okay. Go ahead.
Right there. Brother Prince. Thank you.
I'm good. I'm good.
Can y'all hear me? Prince, you running it down. All right.
Yeah,
Get back.
Go ahead, sis.
Yes, y'all hear me?
yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Now what I wanted to bring into it was, since we got so many people on the line, brother, can you please introduce brother? Well,
You're breaking up.
oh, I am breaking up. All right. Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Or am I still breaking up?
You're good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
That's a little bit better.
You're good.
Okay. Well, what I want to ask y'all, and each person can go around and speak to what I want to say about this, but I want to ask each person, we can go one by one. But I'll start with Psycho and then Nikki. We'll just go in the order everybody came on the line. What is black culture? Being that we're integrated in this society, whatever this is, what is black culture?
That's a deep question. I'll see. Our language, our dress, the way we carry ourselves as a whole. You know, it's a whole lot of different components to this. You know, you got hip hop, R&B culture. You got sports, sports, and it's a little bit of everything. It's kind of like a gumbo. You know, you throw a whole bunch of things in a pot, and you're gonna come up with American black culture. It's really hard to answer that with like one word or just a few words, but yeah, it's a mixture of a lot of different things. I'll pass the mic. Oh, y'all there?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the culture, so black culture would be, you know, just our language, of course, art, history, math, science, how we interact with each other, of course, politics, how we cook, of course, dress would be, you know, is the signature of a lot of different cultures. So you can always tell, you know, where someone is from or what culture they are by the way they dress. Hairstyles, philosophies, different thoughts on different deities and things of this nature. What we would be known for, you know, because some cultures are known for, like if you say Amish, then you know that they're supposed to be known for not using electricity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, this what would make us stick out, what would make us known, what would be specific to just us. You know what I'm saying? Our history, of course, and our ability to build and our ability to make things work. Make things work. So I would say culture. That's kind of difficult though, because I think it's like our culture has been hijacked, so it's kind of hard to define. I think it would be that we would have respect for ourselves a little bit more. I think that our culture, because some cultures, like some of the tribes, like I think it was the, I'm not sure which ones, but like if you know they're coming around, you know they was coming to scout people. I can't think of which tribe that was, but they would like cut people's scalp off. So everybody still knows that that's what that tribe was known for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you seen them coming, you know what time it was. So, you know, I just, like, if you take something from us, it's not going to be a game. You see what I'm saying? You know there's definitely 100% going to be consequences and repercussions, that we're going to have our stuff together, that, you know, our products is going to be good, that, you know, we're going to be quality people. You understand? We're not going to be known for being ratchet and things of this nature. We're going to have a positive projection onto society. So I think that's the culture.
I agree.
All right. Let me go to Brother Equanice, and then Brother E, and then Brother Prince. Brother Equanice, you there? You might have dropped off. Go ahead, Brother E.
I don't know what this is, man. American culture.
What is black culture?
America. Black culture. I mean, the whole culture I see black people is Western culture in America. That's it.
Okay. Brother Prince, what's black culture?
Black culture is a culture that has invented, civilized, pretty much everything that we pretty much need and known to American mankind. That anything is using the positive in it, the shit with the black is in it. None of the to me, it's anti-white culture. Like you said, his mother and father's civilization is a universal culture, really. It's not, you know, they get appropriated on everything we have done. You know, I mean, when we was the first to do things in Kennedy, we were still the first one to do everything over here as far as often have triple bypass surgery, overhaul surgery, red light, green light, stop signs, the refrigerated units in trucks, the diesel engine in a truck. Shoot, man, we made this shit. And we made this shit, man. You know, and the key is we gonna capitalize off our culture. So that's what makes our culture. Everybody in the world know our culture is valuable, but us. So we devalue our own culture. That's what makes it bad. If we learn how to capitalize off our culture, I'm talking about capitalize. I'm talking about all the way around. You got cats making money off motherfuckers putting the ball in the hole. You got white folks making money off a nigga running through a line of blocking for the motherfucker. We the best at everything. We the best at everything athletically done, everything spiritually done, everything. They got our religions from us. So we're a universal culture. We just don't value the culture. That's the problem. We don't value what we have. If we value our culture, we would be unstoppable. You know, it's hard to describe the culture, but the problem is we don't value it enough. Like hip hop, you know, like Teresa was talking about it. Hip hop, you know, the original hip hop was a revolutionary thing. You know what I'm saying? It was anti-white folks, but we couldn't go in there in the Diddy clubs and over there in Manhattan and party with this rocker and disco and shit. We had to go on our own shit and do our own thing. So anytime we made to do anything, when we made to do on our own and do on our own, that's when our culture comes together and we create great things out of our culture. We build natural buildings. We make everything. We can do anything we want to do. It's just mindset, you know, and that's where the culture appropriation. You know, you got Coco out here with the Bo Derek shit. You know, she want to be the modern day Bo Derek. Get the fuck out of here. Black women been wearing big braids and mini braids for vultures our culture. Everybody grabs into our culture. Until we understand that our culture is valuable, our culture is valuable. It's a tree. It's about a man. Look at
right. Let me say something,
man. I know it is. It's worth more than the 1.2 that we spend. But everybody else coming in there and grabbing our culture, and they getting goddamn trees off our asses every goddamn day.
Right. Let me say something to that. Yeah, let me say something to that, because that's why I asked that question, because I think it's very important to, in terms of talking about integration, I think it's very important to assess what is our culture then. Because if we've been in a certain state for a long time under a certain paradigm, what is really ours, And so a lot of what's considered, I think, Black culture, it's like a combination of things. Some of it is directly, I think, connected to our own creativity, our own ability to be unique and to be talented and gifted at so many things. I also think that some of what's considered Black culture are attributes, negative attributes, placed on us by somebody has background. Can you please mute your line? Negative attributes that have been placed upon us by these people, this particular paradigm that we're under, and like them criminalizing us, the idea that Black people do this, they wear their pants like this, and Black people do this like this. Black people, they'll cut you out, or they'll fight you, or they'll do whatever, like that type of stuff has been placed upon us. But some of that comes from just being in the condition that we're in. Hold on, let me go back to my line, because it's like I'm hearing some feedback from somewhere. Brother E, you have your mic muted? And if somebody have can you get your mic? If somebody has like maybe have your computer on, your YouTube on or something. I'm not sure. But if you just mute your phone, that'll work well. But
I got no computer on.
Huh?
I have no computer on. Computer's logged off.
Yeah, but you still not muted.
Yeah. All right. Brother, I muted your line. Because it was still, I understand you don't have nothing on, but whatever is in the back, I'll open it back again in just a second. That's why I just asked you just to mute your line, please. Anyway, so what I wanted to get into about culture and what's happening is Prince was saying it just a second ago, like you have this cocoa heifer iced tea, his wife, okay, and she has these braids or whatever in her hair, and these are braids like goddess style braids that Black women have been wearing, rocking forever, okay, and a lot of times, sisters, a lot of times we rock braids in the summertime. So you have these heifers now, like her, the Rubia Garcia chick, and these other white heifers out here who running around getting these braids, box braids, and different stuff, and trying to pass that off as their own style and this type of thing. And so she made, this is a cocoa sweep or something like that she said, some old bull. Honey, please, it's been done over and over and over again. You ain't coming up on nothing that's new, okay? But because she's a white woman, that is seen as, supposed to be so beautiful or whatever. And then some people actually feel like we should be flattered. We should be flattered that a white woman is coming trying to mock our hairstyle. That should mean that there's more value, okay, in our hairstyle if a white woman likes it enough to want to wear it. Like, that's how sad and how sick it is out here. Then you have this other huge phenomenon that's taking place, and it's not new either. Like, let's be real, and that's with hip hop. Hip hop, man, hip hop. Woo! I don't want to say it's gone, but honey, it is close. It's very close. So now you have, so much is online. You have a company an outlet called Complex. Okay, they have a channel on YouTube that's very popular, and that is owned and everything else run by an Asian man. And then who he has working with him as his staff, his close staff, are all white men. I think in total, as far as the people who are like behind the scenes and who are really making the decisions and really the ones, first of all, like I said, he's the CEO or what have you, the Asian guy. But I think just in terms of people who are close to him, I think it's one black man, and he's way down the ladder, though. Okay, so this is what you have who are dictating, who are the tastemakers. Okay, who are saying what rappers are on, what style is in, whatever. These are the people who are putting out culture, quote unquote, to a lot of black folk. Okay, these are the people that are behind it. You have a magazine called Double XL. Now, they have the freshman whatever every year, which are like these are supposed to be the young rappers coming out who are going to be like the new big stars. These are like who's next up, okay? Now, that is run by white people. It's a white woman, some fat white woman named Vanessa, I can't think of her last name at the moment, but she's the one who's in charge. She makes the decisions on the freshman cover and what artists and this type of thing will get this particular recognition. Of course, if you get that cover, automatically your stock goes up. Way more people know about you. You get more opportunities than ever before. So you have somebody like that who's making these choices. When we look at channels like BET, we know that it's a damn white man named, what's his name? It'll come to me here in a second, because this is Sumner Redstone, okay? This old, ancient white man, okay, who is now the completely over BET, okay, because it was bought out by Viacom or whatever the case may be. So these are the people who ultimately have the last word, and a bunch of things that people are seeing that's supposed to be hip-hop, which is supposed to be black culture, okay? So these are the people who are in position, who are running this. It's a guy by the name, it's a channel by the name, and I don't want to promote this out there, but I want to also say it, though, so people will know if you come across it, okay? You'll be aware of what it is and who's running it and who's making the money off of it. But you have a channel out there on YouTube called No Jumper, okay? Now, the channel is called No Jumper, and it plays like this little track on there by Gucci Mane, and that's what the name of the show is based off on or whatever. Now, this is a white dude, tatted up everywhere, white boy, okay? He's able to get all of these top rappers, okay? People who would never go and interview with black folk who had channels or black magazines and things of that nature. But he's getting all these black dudes that come in there that are big rappers that's popping right now, and they come in, people that's coming up, and they come in there and he interviews them. So we know about Vlad, we know about the other guy, DJ Smalls. Those are white people who are culture vultures, who are capitalizing off of so-called black culture, capitalizing off of hip-hop, which is so-called black culture, okay? So the dude, No Jumper, the reason why I call him out as well is because his political views, guess what they are? They're alt-right. That's his political views. So he was one of the people who was also going at Tariq in terms of Now, this is not about Tariq, but I'm just showing you his views on black people. And it was a guy on there who had beef with Tariq, the Indian dude, Bunty, whatever his name is. He was on there. And this is the people who got Tariq's channel shut down and that whole situation. But, so the guy was like, yeah, and they basically got into speaking about how hard it is for white people and how much white people are held back, and how basically how all black people do is complain about racism. These are the types of things that this dude was straight up affirming. Now, this is the same dude who has all these black dudes come on his channel. The same ones who have all these black dudes and they videos on his channel have hundreds of thousands of views. He's getting paid buku off the backs of these black people that he really can't stand. And because black people so damn thirsty to be up under white people, they go on there. Oh, he tatted up. That's supposed to mean he cool. Oh, he smokes weed. Dumb shit. Excuse my French. Let me just be real. Dumb shit like that. Dumb shit like that is criteria for a lot of black people to deal with white folks. Mm-hmm. Because they smoke weed, that makes them cool. That makes them damn. Oh, they listen to hip hop. That makes them cool. That makes them, oh, he tatted up. That makes him cool. That makes him down. Are you out of your damn mind? These people hate you. These people don't like you. They don't give a damn about you. They're making money off of you. And they're making a fool out of you because they hate you. And they're going to sit there and smile in your face like it's all good. But guess what? You believe it. You believe it. And so what they do, and this is their way in to become bigger and make more money. And they do it because they really know black folk in general are so thirsty. So thirsty for white approval, white acceptance, white mama or daddy saying, you're okay. Because it's not enough for them as black artists to go on black channels and blow their channels up and bring hundreds of thousands of views to up-and-coming black people out here. See, they're not going to do that. They're going to run to the white boy and say, oh, he's cool, man. Man, we smoked after that. What? Do you know this man sit up and talk about black people like a funky dog? And you think you scared in that? And see, this is what they do. This is something I picked. This is so funny to me. Is they act like they get so engrossed in hip hop. Yeah, they act like they get so engrossed in hip hop, right? And so they learn all the little slang. See, that's what they be really trying to do. See, they want to learn all the slang. They want to learn how to be, quote, hip and cool and be down. All right, that's what they want to do. That's why they hang around with black people, so they can know what's being said. Yep. And then what they do, yeah, they take that and then they parlay it into more money for them, and they turn right around and dog out the same people they was kicking it with. Look at that damn fool, Kid Rock. Look at the dude from Third Base. What is his name? MC Third. Look at it's hella white boys. Look at Eminem. Eminem has said hella racist stuff. Let's be clear. He has said hella racist stuff.
A meth addict.
Okay?
I knew Eminem was a racist when I first seen his ass. I didn't cuss him.
This dude, Yellow Book.
Paul Wall, he was like one of the chopped and screwed.
A lot of these guys.
Paul Wall, boy, that motherfucker there.
You know, a lot of these guys, and they come around. And they come around like, you know, oh, it's just all good. I'm almost done, y'all. I'll let y'all go back around to everybody because I know this is just crazy. And this is what's happening, though, y'all. So y'all have to be careful when you looking at different channels and subscribing and different things of this nature because If you think some of this stuff is black culture, you think it's hip hop or whatever, it's really not. And these are the people who own and control it. And think about the magazines and everything, like, you know, Ebony back in the day, or Essence magazine. And after whatever time, white people started owning that. So, like, white people own Essence, okay? And so you had black women buying this and you know, having their subscriptions. And here there's the white people who endorse what's able to be put in there, what's going to make it to the magazine. At the end of the day, these are not black women in control of that, okay? So at the end of the day, this stuff you're seeing is not black people in control of that. You have Vlad TV, and if you pay close attention, Vlad asks a lot of police questions. He asks a lot of questions to get people set up and caught up on different things. And sadly, a ton of these Negroes don't waste no time in going on there. Let me pass to whoever want to speak on this. I don't even want to say takeover, because it's not a takeover. It's been taken over. They did it with jazz. They did it with rock and roll. They did it with damn near any and everything that we could have, that we made, that we created. They've taken it over, and then they repackage it and act like they did. How in the hell, let me say this the last thing, how in the hell do you have the Hollywood Rock, I mean not the Hollywood Rock, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you got white people in power, in control of that? How the hell does that happen, black people? So wake the fuck up, because the next hip-hop awards and all this stuff coming out are going to be white. And then they gonna act like they doing you a favor, throwing you a bone, when they have one or two black people on there. I'll pass the mic.
Right, but I just want to say this: that video with Coco's Ice-T's Cracker Wife, she got me flagged, or somebody got me flagged for stating exactly what you just said. That pretty much she stole it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just because you pay for something, or just because you do something, that doesn't make it yours. That doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it right. You know, and like you said, they steal everything under the sun. Everything is ours. Let's just be real clear. But the thing about it is that, like I said before, when we have it, oh, it's bad, it's this, it's that, the other. But when they have it, oh yeah, it's the next best thing. You know, when they did the so like Bantu knots, and they'll call it like honey bun twist or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll just try to rename it to make it something it is, and that's what they do. That's their culture. You see what I'm saying? That's what they are known for. And then, like you said, they'll sell it back to us. How is it that we have to buy, and then they'll say, oh, well, this is copyright. How is it copyright when you stole it? How do you copyright something that's stolen? You know, and like you said, we need to get these people out immediately. 24 hours, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? You only got 2 for real. We're going to say 24 just so you can, you know, whatever. But it's going to be a wrap like in 5 minutes. Take it seriously, you know. But we're not being serious. We're allowing it to happen. And what's going on is pure destruction and death. They're saying everything that we do is so ratchet. Everything is this, everything is that. But every time we turn around, they got it on. They dancing like us. They singing like us. Even the Japanese people are wearing bushes. And what's that white girl name? She sang the Banana song. And she got all Japanese people in there dancing with the bush and the braids and the hip-hop, you know, attire on and things of this nature. And we just like, yeah, you know, cheering. How can we cheer for our destruction? But anyways, integration is a very, very bad idea. And that's what integration is. Take everything you have and make sure they sell it back to you.
That's it. I mean, you know, yeah, that's what they do. They appropriate the culture, they appropriate what we give. We don't, like I say, we don't value the shit. We think if the white man ain't got his hand in it, we ain't doing shit. And the white man like, you gonna let me get the hand on this shit? You don't know who I am? Please forget who this white man is, or the white person is, and what their nature is. They male dominant motherfucker. You think that not been the goddamn same shit they did when they had you in bondage? All they do is they give you some coins now. What they pay for your slavery now, they give you some trinkets. They give you a goddamn, they give you a necklace. They give you a goddamn Burberry jacket or a goddamn Bentley. You know, that's why I respect independent rappers. Well, we don't, you know, independent is what you need to be on. You know, be independent. And then when they try to goddamn come together with a distribution company, they put the feds on these niggas' ass. You know, when the top guys try to all get together and do that, you know what I'm saying? Jay Prince and a couple more cats, man, Irv got it. I mean, Suge was in it before all that old shit. And they shut that shit down, man. They put them niggas in prison, man. You know? So, I mean, shit, they gonna make sure that they, thing. You got that, Alvin guy, Interscope talking about Suge Knight didn't bail out Tupac. Bullshit. Because Tupac was on the Interscope before he went to prison. You didn't bail him out, motherfucker. But you want to take credit that you bailed out Tupac. But you didn't bail Tupac out before. You could have got Tupac out that shit before it even happened. But you knew you had to get rid of that nigga and get him under that roll so you can get rid of that. Because you knew he was going to try to take over and do some goddamn Michael Jackson shit. You see what they do to Michael Jackson. You see what they did to Prince. You know, you see what Ray Charles did back in the day. He got his masters in his publishing. He got his publishing so hard. They try to talk about making a country song. He said, look at the goddamn paragraph and the wording. I do what the fuck I want to do, cracker. And they had to let him do it. They had no choice. So I mean, it is what it is. So it's all about independence, man, in this hip-hop industry. It's all about doing our own thing. It's all about people, you know, like the cats that was shitting on hip-hop back in the day. You niggas going to try to invest in hip-hop. Well, it's bad music. But you need to buy the bad shit and turn it good. Records are buying the good and turning it bad. So you gotta think, man, it's chess, not checkers, bro. We gotta be on a chess move. They've been on a chess move all the time, but we give them the goddamn king. We give them the queen and shit. We deal the board and shit, and we just get their ass checkmate. There you go, crap. We give it to them. Everything we deal, we give it to the goddamn white man. Everything we deal the goddamn BET. He don't sell it to goddamn Cosby. He sell it to a crap. We goddamn get a goddamn Texas for every little jet. We sell it back to the crap. They're jam all by the white man. So everything we give it back to them. You can't tell ain't no damn actors that wanted to buy that shit. Hell, even with that damn movie that did last year, Byron Allen paid it more for the right to the movie of the shit. Damn. The movie last year, I forgot the name of the man. He just did my son. Not Turner movie. But he gave it to damn Fox. If Fox paid less, it was I don't want to give it. You gonna make a revolutionary movie, you gonna still give it to the white man, and the white man didn't pay you what the black man was gonna pay you. Right. It's sad, man.
Yeah. It is sad. It's just it's a sad situation.
You know that's sad when Byron Allen offered you more. I think he offered him like $7 to $8 million more for the Nat Turner movie, but he gave it to Fox Soundlight for 17, and I said he was offering 25. So you took the white man's salary over the. You ain't even doing mathematics. Yeah. I don't understand if you flipped it and Byron only wanted 17, the Cracker wanted 25, and you gave it to Byron Allen, they're not going to respect you. I can't respect you. You didn't even do a mathematical equation. But he's married to a woman. He would have white woman. Yeah, so it is what it is.
We got about 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
We got about 5 minutes, but Brother E, did you want to say something real quick? Brother E? Okay.
Yeah. Like I said before, our people, like I said, we follow Western culture, Eurocentric culture in this country. So when we talk about Black American culture, it's derivative what we were instilled during enslavement. That's how I see it. And few people went back to culture, and it's too bad equally dropped out because he explained more in depth the culture I could. But you know, that's how I see it.
All right. Well, thank you, Brother E. Like I'll let you close it out. Family. Yeah, because I gotta go do something. Family, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I really wanted to let me not say that. I was gonna turn up on somebody, but I'm be nice for the moment. But yeah, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back Thursday night. At hopefully, I think Thursday night will be at the regular time. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. So yeah, look out for that. I have some good guests coming very soon. Look out for that. And other than that, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Please make sure that you wow. Well, Blog Talk dropped, so that's the end of that. Yeah. Yes, I'll just pass the mic to you, Psycho. But it's just real funny to me, certain technical issues. And I've still been trying to get in touch with Blog Talk. And every time I try to call, it's like, oh, the customer service thing is closed or this and that. Yeah. And then it's like, I need to speak to somebody. I'm not doing this email thing back and forth. No. I have questions that need to be answered. So anyway, y'all, I'm not going to get into all that right now. But yes, I'll be back. We'll be back Thursday night, probably at the regular time. And other than that, I thank you so much. Thank you, Psycho.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank y'all. Love y'all. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Brother Quanice. They probably can't hear me. I don't think they was on the stream. But thank you to everybody in the chat. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all very, 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 very much. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Shout out to everybody who tuned in, listened to the show. We appreciate it. Like Renee said, we'll be back Thursday. We'll try to be on time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, thanks to everybody for listening. We'll see y'all on Thursday. We out. Peace and Black Power.